Hey everybody, Jason Eastley here. I write for Politicus USA and I write for the Daily with Sarah Jones, both available on Substack, and I strongly recommend you subscribe. On today's video, or today's live, I should say, which is the video, in yesterday's live, as Trump was rambling aimlessly in front of the White House press corps for 2 hours, I pointed out that it was unfathomable that this administration was going to send this shambles of an 80-year-old man, place him on an airplane, and fly him to Switzerland to give a speech in front of the entire world. There were reports that Trump had mentally lost a step, according to people in his first administration in 2017. During the 2024 campaign, Trump's team tried to hide his decline by only having him campaign a few days a week until the last few weeks of the election. Trump frequently appeared with other people on stage that some people would call these people handlers, and since the media was obsessed with Joe Biden, they gave Trump a pass because they thought Donald Trump was going to be their cash cow. During Trump's current administration, he holds lightly controlled events with hand-picked reporters where he's often seated. So by 2026, sending Donald Trump to Davos was borderline elder abuse. And what happened was both predictable and telling. Because, this is nothing new if you're paying attention. If you're watching, Donald Trump, you may have not noticed, but he really doesn't do rallies anymore. He sparingly does speeches. When he just tried to do a speech, it ends up turning into a borderline rally. And what happened at Davos after he was standing there for 2 hours, aimlessly rambling, repeating his lies, not making much sense, they took this man, stuck him on a plane, flew him to Switzerland, and they thought he was going to give some kind of brilliant, commanding speech or something. What happened was the exact opposite. Now, we're going to talk about the White House response to what happened in just a minute or two. But first, let's take a look at some vintage 2026 Donald Trump. See here. Okay, we got it. Okay.
Decades. But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. If we gave them the call, gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there.
We know they would be there. We know they would be there because they were there for us after 9/11. They were there for us when we asked for help with Afghanistan. They've been there for us, and every time something's happened that we've needed their help.
We'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. So with all of the money we expend, with all of the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't know that they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell.
Iceland? Wait, Iceland? Those of you who've watched the news have come across this clip probably and been on social media. Iceland. They're not there for us on Iceland. What are we doing on Iceland? What's happening with Iceland?
Tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland.
Iceland? You sons of Iceland, how dare you tank our stock market?
So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money.
Iceland, 3 times. Iceland's already cost us a lot. Iceland has not cost us anything. What's happened here is that the president has confused Greenland and Iceland. Not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. 3 times he did this.
Money.
And we have on good authority
compared to what it's gone up. And we have an unbelievable future in that.
We have it on good authority that that's not what the text of the remark said. Trump was supposed to be talking about Greenland, not Iceland. They're 2 different places. Not the same place. Whoop, we are 1 slide ahead of ourselves here. Not the same place at all. Why is Donald Trump talking about Iceland when the conflict is about Greenland? Why? Because Trump's brain no longer works effectively. And there's a bigger discussion to be had here about whether or not America or any nation should be having president who should be having people hold the office of the presidency, which is the most demanding job in the world when done correctly and properly. Whether or not there should be someone of Trump or Joe Biden's advanced stage in that office. I thought we had had this conversation in 2024. Okay, but apparently, according to the media and Republicans, that conversation only applied to Joe Biden. I mean, where's Jake Tapper's book? Where's Jake Tapper's breaking news cryon and coverage on CNN about Donald Trump not knowing the difference between Iceland and Greenland? Where's it at? Where's it at, media? Where's it at, mainstream press? Step it up. Why aren't you asking questions about Donald Trump? You're afraid of Donald Trump. You're afraid that if you ask questions, that there might be some kind of retribution or revenge against you by this administration. They're afraid of Trump in a way they were never afraid of Joe Biden. And that's bad for the country. Because we have a president who just went overseas and got his countries mixed up multiple times and gave a speech that frankly wasn't appropriate for Davos. It's the World Economic Forum. And Trump's talking about Gavin Newsom in California and arresting immigrants and all kinds of stuff that was just nonsensical. It didn't belong there. Just like Donald Trump himself didn't belong there. The administration keeps doing something that frankly is bordering on elder abuse. I know we talked yesterday or Saturday about how Trump has surrounded himself with enablers. No one is going to tell Donald Trump no. No one is going to tell Donald Trump, hey, you know what? Going to Davos is not a great idea. Spending 2 hours in front of the White House press pool talking about nonsense is not a great idea. Don't do it. No one's there to stop him. So he's going to do it, and he's going to think that he's delivering some great address. And Trump still has this perception in his own mind that when he speaks, the world shudders. But the world's not. The world's trembling with laughter. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at the United States. They're like, oh, what has happened to the United States? What's happening to the world's former greatest superpower? The most powerful nation in the world has been turned into an old man standing there who doesn't know his countries. We got a couple comments. Okay. Let's put a couple up there. He's rebranding the rare earth minerals as ice. Sneaky, sneaky. No. Okay. Oh, look at this. We have a funny one. Biden, you're obviously a nut job. I don't know who you're referring to as a nut job, but that's not. I'm not a nut job. I don't know who you're talking to there. Oh, look, we got angry MAGAs here. We'll put it up on the screen. You're the one who's mentally declined. No, don't think so. Nope, not an 80-year-old clown who doesn't know the difference between his countries. Nope. Sorry. This is the problem. The people that voted for Donald Trump, the hardcore of the hardcore, they refuse to admit. They refuse to see because it hurts. It honestly hurts. They put their faith and trust into this guy. And what they have is a broken, shattered old man who doesn't know his countries, can't lead anything, and is failing at the presidency for a second time. It's not like his first presidency was some kind of great gangbusters. Look, this was a bad moment for Trump. And it was so bad. And if you want to know why, or how, or the proof that it was bad, just look at this tweet that Caroline Leavitt put out, admonishing a reporter for daring to mention that Donald Trump confused Iceland and Greenland. No, he didn't, Libby. His written remarks referred to Greenland as a piece of ice because that's what it is. You're the only one making anything up here. No. Sorry, Caroline. Everybody knows it. Greenland. That. Why? Why would his written remarks say that? And why would he say it 3 times? He didn't say a piece of ice. You know what? Let's go back one more time. Let's see what Caroline here is talking about.
But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us if we gave them the call.
We already know he'd be there.
Gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know we'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. So with all of the money we expend, with all of the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't know that they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland. That I can tell you.
There it is, Iceland.
I mean, our stock market took the
They're
first
not there
dip
for
yesterday
us
because
on
of Iceland.
block of ice. Just for a minute here, let's just substitute. They're not there for us on block of ice.
Iceland's already cost us a lot of money.
Block of ice has already cost us a lot of money. Ice has already cost us a lot of money. That doesn't even make sense. That what Leavitt is trying to suggest here makes no sense. When you put her phrase into Donald Trump, what Donald Trump said and came out of his mouth makes no sense. She's lying. David Burnett, sick man with dementia. I think he's very much an older man in decline. And, again, the question comes back to we really, really need to have a president that is in the prime of life. We never had these issues when, to be fair and nonpartisan, plenty of mistakes. George W. Bush was a walking gaffe. But George W. Bush never went to Davos and confused countries 3 times in a row like that. I mean, can you imagine Barack Obama doing that? No, you can't. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense until you see the reality. The reality that the corporate media, the mainstream press, does not want to talk about, except for a few people like Lawrence O'Donnell on MSNL, that Donald Trump is in decline. And he can't handle the functions of the presidency. And, there's no knock on somebody for being years old. When I hope we all get to live to be 80 years old or greater and even longer and have long, vibrant lives. But that doesn't mean that we should be president. That doesn't mean we're fit to run a country. That doesn't mean we could handle the day-to-day rigors of the job. This whole mythology, this whole refusal to admit reality is one of the main reasons why the Trump administration and the Republican Party is in a state of failure. This deluded mentality that we never apologize for anything, we never admit the truth, we never admit any weakness. That's why they're failing. Because the American people don't want to be told North Korea-style propaganda. The American people would like to hear the truth. And they would like to hear that their government cares about them and will address their problems. Now, I don't know or care if those policy recommendations are are liberal or conservative, or if they're Democratic or Republican. You have an administration right now that's not doing anything to address the biggest concerns of the people. And that's a real problem. And then you have a president up here who is saying things that just don't make sense, and he's doing it on a world stage, and the European leaders shouldn't be afraid of Trump. Nobody in this world should be afraid of Donald Trump. Every time he comes out and speaks before the world, he just reveals his own weakness, and he reveals his administration's weakness, his party's weakness. The Republican Party, and J.D. Vance isn't going to fix this. J.D. Vance isn't going to be the one to bring new life to this. It just isn't going to happen that way. Okay. He's a joke and an embarrassment to our country. It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing to have a president who can't stand up in front of the world and clearly make and lead, and can't lead the world. He can't lead the world. He wants to shrink the United States away from global leadership and insist on pretending like he's powerful when he's not. So, if anything, this Davos speech where he walked back using force to take Greenland, he's not going to use force now, so that threat went away. Then the stock market bounced back up because, well, now they have nothing to worry about. So he's not going to use force. He's going to negotiate. Well, there's nothing to negotiate. The Europeans have already said the United States can have whatever they need out of Greenland for security reasons. There's nothing. There's nothing. We don't need to own it. Is the United States going to be responsible for providing the system of healthcare and the economic system to Greenland if we buy it? Who's going to cover all this expense? I mean, we are cutting health insurance for our own people and healthcare and needed food and services. But yet we're supposed to just all come together and pick up the tab for Greenland? Really? Because Donald Trump wants to put his name on a piece of land before he leaves office? That's what we're doing here. Yeah, I mean, this is a moment where instead of outlining an American vision of strength and leadership, Donald Trump showed his complete and utter weakness and frailty. Okay, I think that's going to do it for Trump's Davos dementia moment. If you have any questions, you can see I've been flashing the comments up here. So we will keep throwing your comments up for a couple of minutes here. Anything, questions, anything going on, I will post them right here on the screen. We'll talk about them. Otherwise, I will see you most likely tomorrow with a fresh video and a fresh live. Hey, thanks for coming and joining us. Once again, I'm Jason Easley. Write for Politicus USA, write for the Daily, whether it's on Substack. If you're watching on YouTube, a subscribe would be really helpful and great, so you know when all of our videos are coming out. Until next time, stick together, stand tall, and stay strong.